So in the last video, I was talking about how we got to where we are in having a recession slash depression starting here in 2023, supposedly. In actuality, it started a while ago, but the government has been like attempting to stimulate the economy and keep that from really being a full-blown crash. Unemployment rates are based on people who actually file for unemployment, so it's a very skewed number to say, oh yeah, you know, unemployment's gone down, so obviously people are doing good. That's not accurate. That's just something that, you know, people like to use as a way to propel things and to build momentum, and it's not necessarily bad intention. You know, positive momentum can be a very good thing, but trying to create it out of thin air is a hard thing to do. And I just want to address that, yeah, things are hard and things are going to get harder. And for some people, that is not good to hear at all because you're already struggling. So I want to go ahead and try to let you know some things you can do to help yourself and also alleviate the stress. The first thing, don't panic, because if you are earning less than $200,000 a year, this is going to financially hit you less hard than it's going to hit people who make more than that. Believe it or not, the richer people seem to be, the more their value estimation is. In reality, a ton of that is things that they've invested to that they actually owe a lot of debt on, and they owe a lot of interest on. So they're going to be struggling. A lot of people, they keep panicking and running to like take their money out of Bank of America and stuff like that. Like you'll see Blackstone. Investors have been trying to take money out of Blackstone for months, like trillions of dollars worth of investment. And JP Morgan's like, oh no, don't do that. Keep investing into them. They're not saying that because they're like jerks. They're saying that because they don't want people to panic. They know if people start rushing to take out investments there, they're next. Like, they're also going to be having investments rushed to be taken out of. Banks have started collapsing, cryptocurrencies stuff have started collapsing. For a system to be really good and really, really beneficial to everything involved, it needs to be like an ocean current where it flows around in a big loop, and the loop can have maybe some turns around a continent or something, but it needs to all move in a big flow. And money has been flowing up, but money has not been flowing back down. So it's not in a current system. And so the people who have been getting the money flowing up, yes, they have more money. They've been living it up. They've been having a better time. They are in a place of wealth. They've been getting lucky, and it has all been subsidized and made easier for them. That greed and that constant amassing has caused them to live in a bubble, and they have shot themselves in the foot. They really, really have. So what can we do? The people who are at the bottom, the people who've been being taken advantage of, and the people who are dirt poor. I am saying we because I'm pretty poor myself. I cannot afford an apartment without a roommate. I mean, most people I know are in the same boat. They need someone else. If they can even afford an apartment. There's plenty of people who are living in vehicles, who are living with their parents, who are living, you know, couch surfing or trying to find cheap hotels or Airbnbs, trying to find other options because, you know, basically the skyrocket of costs is just too much. It's to a point where most people can't afford it. What you can do is not panic. The very, very first thing, just don't panic, because this is not, as much as it's a recession and as much as it's a depression, the people who are going to hurt the worst from this is not you. You've already been suffering. You're already used to the suffering. You have a bit of resilience about the suffering that the people who have been earning a lot and who are suddenly in like a day going to be losing, you know, millions of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars all at once, they're going to take some very hard emotional blows. And it is, you know, a kind of suffering that unfortunately we're a little used to, so we're going to be able to still be functional. That doesn't mean it's not hard, it just means we're less curled up in a ball distraught and more, okay, this sucks, what can I do about it? First thing you can do, not panic. Second thing you can do, put your money somewhere safer. No matter how little of an amount of money that you have, put it somewhere safer. Let's put that into practicality. So, for instance, I've seen a lot on YouTube for some reason, people who are financial gurus who are like, oh yeah, invest in this thing. And then it turns out that thing had to do with FTX and it is gone, destroyed. You lost all your money. Or they say, oh yeah, here, if you invest into this little no-name place, you get these, they'll give you free stocks, easy money, go get it. That place is like totally not regulated. That's not a guarantee. Don't fall for that crap. They're like, oh, here, join this online banking. This online banking is like amazing, so much less fees, all this stuff. Let me tell you something about a lot of online banking. If it's not FDIC protected, don't do it. It is not safe. Something really simple that you can do is make sure your money, however much you have, you could have $10 to your name, you could have, you know, a few thousand to your name, whatever it is. If you're poor, you probably don't have a lot, so don't put that tiny bit in a super risky place. If it's not FDIC protected, don't do it. If it's not, you know, a bank or a credit union, you need to double check if it's FDIC protected. If it is protected, the government will guarantee that even if that bank goes under, up to $250,000 will be protected of your money. So, you go to, say, Fidelity Investments or Vanguard, you're going to be okay if, say, somehow they actually went under, which I don't expect that at all. But, you know, say they went under. If you've got less than $250,000, you're protected. You will not lose that money, like required by law. So if you're going to a place that is like a risky place just because it seems like a deal that's too good to be true, oh, they give you money ahead of time, there's no bank fees, there's no problems, everything's wonderful and peachy, it's not actually, it's just that it's not regulated. Make sure that you back up. And what I mean by that is, for example, I keep extra toilet paper in the house at all times. I just keep an extra thing of, you know, rolls. I don't want to run out of toilet paper and then I can't do anything about it. And I'm like, oh crap, what do I gotta do? I gotta go take a shower now because I have no toilet paper in the house? You want to be the same way. Keep an extra thing of paper towel, keep an extra thing of any like non-perishable food, and then eat the one that's going to expire first. Like, just keep a backup of things to the best of your ability. You might not be able to afford much. You might not be able to afford to back up most things. So pick a few things that are a top priority to you to keep a backup of. You know, you maybe need to like stretch just a little bit your dollars, so you keep a backup. I used to have a car that guzzled oil, so I always kept an extra thing of oil in my vehicle. Well, going forward after that vehicle, I still kept doing that. I have an extra thing of oil in my car right now. I get my oil changed, but if I needed to wait an extra month to get my oil changed because I just couldn't afford it that much, I just drop a little bit of oil in there to help it last just a little longer. It's not going to actually be a long-term fix. It will not keep the car going and staying healthy and the engine not going bad for a long time, but it could get me another 4 weeks, and then I can get a couple paychecks in and hopefully get caught up on things. Just keep a backup. Whatever it is, if you've got, you know, say a coat, and the coat is getting kind of raggedy, don't wait till it's completely destroyed. Go to Goodwill and get yourself a cheap coat there to use as a backup. It does not have to be pretty, it does not have to be fancy. If you can go to a clothing bank, or a lot of churches will have like a clothing bank there, and you just got to listen to them talk about Jesus for a little bit, and then they'll give you some free clothes. Get those free clothes. They don't have to fit perfectly. You don't have to be the most stylish person in the world. Just have something as a backup. If your shoes are torn up, I always have a pair of shoes that I wear all the time that's getting holey, like, because I've been wearing it all the time for years. And then I have my winter shoes that have grip, and they're the same winter shoes that I have used for years and years. And then I have my quote-unquote new shoes. And when I dress up to go on a date, I wear my new shoes. But otherwise, I don't wear my new shoes until the other ones are dead. Like, totally dead. And then my new shoes start becoming those shoes, and I get a new pair of shoes that I won't actually start actively wearing all the time for probably like 2 years. Have a backup. When you are looking at the financial situation going on, the same thing is true of your money. You need to, as much as humanly possible, have some sort of an emergency fund. You need to go ahead and look at your last 3 bank statements and how much was spent on those last 3 bank statements, and you need to try to get ahead on how much that is. And it is recommended 3 to 6 months of an emergency fund. Now you might be thinking, holy crap, that's a lot of money to just have sitting there when I've got things that I need to do. So I personally have never been a big fan of just saying 3 to 6 months. I say based on your income, 3 to 6 months. So for instance, if you're earning, I would say if you're earning like $60,000, $70,000 a year, 6 months, that's more reasonable. $100,000 a year, 6 months, do it. Okay? Have an emergency fund that big. If you're earning less than $60,000 a year, a 6-month, like even less, say less than $50,000 a year, a 6-month emergency fund is not as realistic. It's just not. So I say if you're earning less than $50,000 a year, try to have a 3-month emergency fund. And if you are earning less than $20,000 a year, try to just at least have a single month emergency fund. It's so important to be ahead on that, because something's gonna happen. That's just not even besides a recession and a depression and blah, 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 blah. Just life. Something's gonna happen. You did not get to decide, oh no, that caught on fire right then, or oh, my car just broke down, or hey, the washer is just like spewing out weird stuff and I don't know why, or like stuff happens and you gotta deal with it, and it can be a real blow. So if in any way, shape, or form you can get ahead and have some sort of financial backup, it's just like having an extra thing of toilet paper in your house. Not just one roll, if you can help it. Have a whole pack, if you can afford it. Some people, this might not apply to you. You are so dirt broke, you can't accomplish this. But if you are earning in those kinds of ranges, you can accomplish that. Do it, make it happen. It's just super important financially to have a backup, just as much as it would make sense to materially have backups. Okay? Number 4. Okay? So, don't panic. Money in safe places is number 2. Number 3, have backups. Number 4, don't have risky money. If you have been investing into cryptocurrency, you don't have to go rush and sell it all necessarily if you don't want to do that, but stop buying more. If you are one of those people who's been going on to like little apps and stuff, and instead of getting like your PayPal amount or your cash amount, you've been putting it into crypto, stop doing that. That's risky money. That's not money that's going to help you anytime soon. Even if 10 years from now you find that it would have been profitable at even like a 6% increase, it's not worth it for the sheer volume of stress and for the sheer volume of risk during this time. I'm not saying go to the stock market and get rid of all your stocks. I'm saying instead of, you know, investing in shoving all your money into your brokerage accounts and saying, oh yeah, my money market account's gonna get me living off dividends. Oh yeah. Put your money into your Roth IRA, cap it off if you can afford to, and say, okay, I'm gonna calm down a little bit. I'm going to make sure I have emergency funds and prioritize that instead. This is a little less applicable to people who already have emergency funds and zero debt. If you've already got all those things, congratulations. But for the majority of people, that's not true. So just investing absolutely can be a good thing, and investing during this time is, believe it or not, going to be number 5. So just hold on. I am going to get there. But if you are investing, don't invest into risk. Don't take and do risky money. And here's a very controversial thing I'm going to say for risky money. Your car is not an asset. It is a money sink. Your car depreciates in value. It does not appreciate in value. It is a money sink. That is risky money that you are spending. It sucks, but it's the truth. Now, do you need that car to go to work? Possibly. Probably even. You know, a lot of parts of the United States are not a major city where you can get transportation through, you know, networks of buses and ferries and rails and so on and so forth. But at the same time, that's not good money, that's risky money. So don't go wasting your money on a fancy car. If you can get an electric vehicle or a hybrid vehicle, that's great because that saves you money. People who have electric vehicles pay way less than people who pay for gasoline. And that's going to continue. All of the laws and advancements and stuff are moving away from pollution. And you might not even believe in climate change. You might be one of those people who doesn't think that the scientists are telling the truth. Even if you believe that, no one wants to live in pollution. Pollution is super bad for our health. So people are moving away from pollution anyway. It's just not good for us to be in pollution. And we need to take pride in where we live, at least a little bit. And living in a bunch of trash is not very happy living. There's also a lot of studies to prove that the more cluttered and dirty and trashed up your environment is, the more likely you are to have high levels of stress hormones. So it's going to keep happening. So don't keep investing into things that are a money sink. That is risk of your money. It is risky money to just keep cash. People used to, when I was younger, squirrel away wads of money or rolls of money under their bed or, you know, in a safe or whatever. Inflation is so high that that money is dropping in value drastically, just sitting there. Cash, raw cash, is risky money because it is absolutely losing value every single year. So as much as possible, keep a bill pay account with your checking account where your bills, you know, are coming in and out of. Anything above that, for instance, your emergency fund, try to keep it in a savings account. Even if that savings account can be a high yield savings account, that's awesome. But even if it can't be, any type of interest is better than just the cash sitting there doing nothing. Because if the cash is sitting there doing nothing, it's not actually doing nothing. It's losing money. So do not have that risky money. Risky money is in some ways worse than putting your money in risky places, like an FDIC not covered place. The next thing is values of things. Property values have been coming down some. We don't know if they'll keep going down, but it is a definite possibility. But stocks have been coming down some. The values of stuff has been coming down some. And that's to be expected. That's very to be expected. A lot of people who had a lot of money in that, who thought that they could retire early and now are panicking, they're having problems. But you are working all the time. This doesn't apply to you. What does apply to you is, hey, this is cheaper than usual. If you have debt, gone. If you have emergency fund of at least 3 months. Do not do this until you have an emergency fund of at least 3 months, even if you earn less than $20,000 a year. Just saying that flat out, okay? If you have those things, you've got your backups, material and financial, you followed all the first steps, do these steps in order, don't skip to a different step, do the steps in actual order, okay? If you've done all the previous steps and you're to this step, then investing can be a good idea. Now, some caveats to that. First thing, investing not into a stock. Do not do it. Right now is not a good time to just flat out buy a stock. You might say, well, it's Apple or it's Coca-Cola. Don't do it. Just you're poor, you don't understand investing, like you're not someone who's super educated on this. Don't listen to the YouTubers or the people who are like, oh yeah, blah 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 blah. Just don't buy anything risky. Just they're too risky. Do not buy a high yield dividend stock. Especially, that's like the worst one. And it looks like it's awesome because the dividend return is massive. But in actuality, the value of that stock is minuscule. And it could tank at any moment. So what should you invest in then? Hey, invest in either some solid index funds or some ETFs. And maybe a REIT. Maybe. Do not go being like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go into these big major fast yield stuff. Just don't do it. Also, invest in something where the cost on like your annual costs for having it are pretty low. So first example, the Charles Schwab full market account, that one's good because it covers multiple stocks from multiple businesses, so you are not buying a stock, you're buying tiny pieces of multiple stocks. So if a couple of those tank and go under, you didn't just lose everything. It also has a very long history of being decently steady because it tries to go over the whole market, and it also has a very, very low cost, annual cost of even, having returns from it. So go for something really low like that. Now, I'm not an actual financial advisor. Please don't come at me if you lose money on something. And flat out understand that right now things are going down. So you might buy something today and it goes down more tomorrow. You might buy something this month and next month you lost something off of it. That's just going to be sort of this year and next year probably as well. Does that mean don't buy it because you're hoping that you can wait till it goes down some more before you buy it? I don't recommend that. Now, that's a possible thing to do, but that's called timing the market. And you could decide, hey, I'm not going to invest anything and I'm going to wait. And then next week, the government's like, you know what? Inflation's gone down some. We're going to step back. And then suddenly everything is like, what? And gets excited and starts ballooning again, and you missed out. You don't know. Now, how likely is that? Not really, but it is a possibility at all times that the market will fluctuate. Which means timing the market is extremely difficult to do, especially for people who aren't educated in it. So just literally go open yourself a basic, like, I say Fidelity Investments because I know they have a promotion, and I use that, so I have the most experience with that. But technically, if you can afford to do Vanguard, go for that. Go for a reliable FDIC protected investment company. Do not go for some random thing that has no real regulation or protection on it just because somebody's telling you get free stocks if you sign up. That's so not a good idea. But do go invest. And when you invest, set your investment to auto reinvest in itself. And then you never have to invest anything into it ever again if you cannot afford to do so. You can just leave it there, but at least invest something if you have the capability to do so during this period of time when things are lower. It's like right now stocks are on sale, but you don't know which stocks are actually going to be worth buying. So it's safer to buy little tiny pieces of multiples of them instead of buying a whole stock. If that makes sense, this is basically what I advise. My personal advising, but I am not a financial advisor. I am not a guru. I am just somebody who survived a lot of stuff. And tried to educate myself as much as I can. I get excited about what I learn, and I want to translate that excitement into helping other people. It's really important during this period of time to try to cut your spending if possible. And I say that with a caveat of I fully accept that most people who are earning, you know, 60K a year or under are already cutting corners as much as possible when it comes to that. But if there is some way that you can cut your spending in any way, shape, or form, try to do it. And if you can't, you're going to have to accept that you need something else coming in. And that something else coming in might be go to a survey site and start taking surveys. It pays horrible, but an extra little bit coming in a month is something. You might be flat out no job at all, and you just need to go ahead and start dog walking, or you need to do something, and it might be nothing. It might be something that you would be ashamed to put on your resume, but if your unemployment has run out and you are desperate, go do it. Don't put it on your resume, but do it anyway. Like, you gotta make things happen and ends meet in whatever way that you can. And you've got to be willing to accept that you're gonna have to think outside the box, and a normal hourly 9 to 5 or whatever is not going to work. And flat out, you might already have like 2 jobs. You might have already started a second part-time job or whatever it is, and you're already trying so hard to make things function. So let's break down priorities. This one will be set your financial priorities. Priorities are the things that are the very most important to you, that you have to have. And allow me to be extremely clear, because most people on like the news and media and even YouTube and like freaking, you know, advice columnists and stuff like that, they seem really out of touch and really unaware of what humans actually need to survive. So we're gonna break this down into survival mode at all. Humans, you basically need a few things, okay? You need your physical protection. Physical protection means shelter, it means food in the belly, clothes on the back, and it means your health and safety provided for. 5 things, okay? 5 things. So if you can have some sort of shelter over your head, even if it is a vehicle, kudos to you, you did something for yourself. Don't be ashamed of the fact that you're a human who needs shelter. You need shelter. If you need food, and, you know, you have to panhandle a little for it, or, you know, you feel ashamed because you have to beg, but at the same time, like, you need food. Again, don't be afraid of clothing banks and food banks. Right now, like, they're kind of overwhelmed because so many people need it. But if you look on things like Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace, OfferUp, stuff like that, you can find some free stuff sometimes to help you. And it might not be clothes and it might not be food, but maybe you can find, you know, something to store stuff in, or, you know, your kids, you know, bed broke and you can find like a free junk bed on there or something to make it less costly in another way so that you can afford something. Be aware of what food stamp, SNAP, you know, requirements are in your state. You might just be assuming that you earn too much when in actuality you don't. If you are looking to buy shelter for the very first time, be aware that a first-time homebuyer has so many options that are available to them, and they don't necessarily just jump to tell you about all of them unless you can actually afford to hire a real realtor. So make sure that if it is your very first time buying a home, that you get the help from the government and from banks and stuff that you can get, because you are eligible for a lot of help. Try to be aware of what you're eligible for. If you make under a certain amount, you could change your gym membership. For instance, the YMCA has major discounts for people who are poor, and your kid really, really loves sports. Have them do sports through YMCA. Get the discount from being poor, and try to do something different. You don't have to pay for like a major gym or something. There is so much that is people trying to look good versus what is survival. And in reality, survival doesn't have to be all the way down to I live in a tent. It can be more than I need to stuff newspapers in my clothes so that I can retain some heat at night. You know, I've seen before on like YouTube videos where they're like, hey, turn off some of your subscriptions, or don't buy so many Starbucks coffees, make coffee at home. Like, how many people don't already do that? Or maybe that one single thing is the one thing you're holding on to for thing number 2, your emotional and mental survival. Part of what makes us overspend, part of what makes us gamble, part of what makes us panic is high levels of stress hormones in our body. And the more stressed out you are, the more you're gonna make dumb mistakes. The less your cognitive function works, the less logical you can be, the less rational you can be, the more volatile, the more moody, the worse sleep you get, and the more your body is susceptible to like aches and pains and stuff like that. Like, in reality, high levels of stress hormones in your body is not good for you. And it is important for your survival for you to take care of yourself. Just like physically, we have times of high activity and times of rest. Okay? Mentally and emotionally, you need times of high activity and rest. Flat out. To be healthy, to be a human being who can survive. So it is extremely important that you forgive yourself and you don't feel like you're not trying your best just because you have a subscription to a streaming service. Now, if you can live without, say, paying the Netflix fee, full price, and go down to commercials, do it. If you can afford, you know, the commercials for Hulu and not full price, no commercials for Hulu, go down. Maybe you've got right now live TV with Hulu. Drop it down. Maybe right now you have streaming services and you're like, maybe I can't afford any, I don't know. Just get the free, like, Roku channel or something. It's not as good. There's a reason that some of this stuff is free, but at least there's something. Something that you could do, something you can watch, besides just YouTube, which obviously a lot of us watch a lot of YouTube. I know I do. But, you know, like, there's other options, but just because there's other options doesn't mean that needing an option in the first place makes you less trying, that you're lazy, or that you are dumb, or that you are not trying your best. If you have a hobby, if there's a way that you can monetize it, feel free. But if the act of trying to monetize it would add to your stress levels and the hobby detracts from them, then don't do that to yourself. Not everything has to be making money. Sometimes you are more important, and investing in yourself is the only 100% return on investment that you will ever encounter in your entire life. It is a 100% guarantee that when you invest in yourself, it's gonna come back and help you. So taking care of yourself matters. Maybe you can't afford the library card. So go sit and read at the library. Maybe you can't afford even the discounted YMCA stuff. So just, instead of going to a gym, take walks. Maybe it's not safe in your neighborhood to take walks. Then I guess you're gonna have to jog in place at home and do calisthenics. There's options, but the options sometimes are a little sucky. But needing the options is very much human. It is superhuman that sometimes you need a nap or you need to veg out in front of a TV because you are needing to reduce the amount of stress going on in your body. People who are stressed out in their old age, it is proven after study after study, it can lead to worse health complications when you're older. And honestly, it leads to worse complications with your health younger too. It is important for your survival, not just to be like, I gotta make sure that there's food on the table for my kids right now, but also I gotta make sure I have 10 minutes to myself right now, even if I just go stand in a bathroom. My kids gotta go be in there, I gotta be in here. I gotta have 10 minutes to myself to just watch a silly little video or something and calm down a little bit. And that doesn't make you bad. That makes you human. And you're allowed to be human. And during this time when there is so much to be stressed about, it is more important than ever to remember that part of your survival is your mental and emotional health. That part of what you're doing by not putting your money in a risky place, by not having risky money, by not having, yourself living with no type of, emergency fund. The things that you're doing by doing that is helping your mental and emotional health. You are helping yourself to have less stress hormones in your body, to have less of that detracting from your capability to function. Because you can have shelter over your head, but if you're non-functional while you live under that shelter, how much are you really surviving? I am fully not trying to say at all that everybody's going to have quality of life options while we're going through this time, but if there's even a tiny bit that you can give yourself of it, it helps you leaps and bounds. And it is important to do for yourself because you need to remember that you're valuable. When everything else in the world is telling you how not valuable you are, from you need to buy material things to look better, you need to be more socially acceptable, you need to be more financially stable, you aren't trying hard enough, you aren't doing good enough, why are you still in debt, whatever it is, you need to do little nice things for yourself and not feel guilty about it so that you can remind yourself that you are worth doing the nice thing for. You matter. If there's anything that can be the final point and the truest, the dessert to this meal, the best part, it's that you matter. You're gonna get through this hard time because you're valuable and you are needed and you are wanted and you matter. You have good things to do. Not everyone can be great at the same things, but everyone has some sort of a greatness in them. Even if you have no idea what that is, just start investing in yourself, start educating yourself, go learn about something that's interesting to you, or if you don't know what's interesting to you, everything feels blah and apathetic and the same grayscale across the board. Just go start reading a book. Most of the older books that the copyright's off of, you can get for free on things like Amazon Kindle. And Amazon Kindle, you can just download the app for free and then go read some old, Alice in Wonderland or War of the Worlds or, Great Expectations, or just go read something old, even if you can't read modern stuff. Just start somewhere. Because you matter, and the worst thing you can do is not start. The worst thing you can do is just not do something for yourself. So do something for yourself. Do something for yourself, and then you'll be more able to do something for your family, you'll be more able to do something for your friends, and if you're doing things for yourself, you'll be able to more do things that will help you survive and cope through this recession.